They were so empowered with new learning, new knowledge, and ways of thinking about working together that it was revolutionary, amazing.
What are the results? Wow. They're telling me that they believe that their kids can do pretty much anything and that they will find ways to build their skills so that their students have lots of options available to them.
Our consultants are incredibly knowledgeable. They've amassed an incredible amount of information about what's out there in this field of adolescent literacy.
And they'll be at the other end of the hallway and they'll say, Miss Ramos, I finished Catching Fire. I've never read that much. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
I think too often in teaching we pretend that if individual teachers just worked harder or were more dedicated, kids would be doing better. And I feel like that's completely unfair. Most of the teachers I know are working, incredibly hard and making sacrifices and doing all sorts of things. And it's not a question of heroics, how we help kids learn to read and write better, that it is a question of finding ways to help schools work differently and work together and support one another better.
As former middle school teachers ourselves, we're quite frustrated with the professional development we were receiving around content area literacy. We set out to design something that would be engaging, would be resource rich, and tailored to the different needs of various content area teachers. Our summer institutes are focused on introducing some of the big ideas and latest research in adolescent literacy. Teachers report their students being more engaged, their students understanding the readings more, being more invested in writing assignments, how the simple idea of asking students to talk more with each other about content that increase the academic language and the content-specific language. What impact that then has on students' ability to read and write content area text.
We want our participants to be comfortable and enjoy themselves. We check in with people in terms of what their goals are, where they are in their careers. It's a very, very personal experience because we feel like in order for us to deliver content in a way that folks need, we need to understand where they're coming from. The first day is really focused on thinking about this idea of disciplinary literacy. So we begin to talk about these things called habits of minds. What are the typical ways that historians think. The next day we spend a lot of time talking about vocabulary and differences across content areas. We look at example texts. The next day we look at online resources and how we can use apps and data sets to supplement our textbooks. On Thursday we get into reading activities and reading strategies, and we begin to bring all of these pieces together. On Friday, participants present their lesson plan and get formal feedback from one another. The stories that we hear from the participants that we talk to are so incredible that I'm almost skeptical.
Towards the end of the week in our institutes, we ask participants to bring in drafts of instructional designs, and we as groups tweak them, tune them, explore them, and teachers always leave the week with fantastic, energized ideas about what they're going to try next. We always end up getting reports later in the year, thanks so much, I tried this, it worked, and I always laugh because it's not something I gave them, it's not something I did, it's something they designed, or something one of their colleagues in the institute designed, and that feels really powerful.
Now, each of those teachers that we have worked with thinks of him or herself as someone who can do that work, who can lead an inquiry cycle around an issue of instruction. We cultivate leadership skills, coaching skills in each one of them, and so I feel like I trust the teams I'm working with now, that if I didn't come back, they would continue doing the work and they would continue teaching their departmental peers how to do the work.
It will revolutionize the way you're teaching. If you feel like you're plateauing and you've come to a place in your teaching career where you're not necessarily excited, take this institute. I have stopped looking around for consultants now that I've found the most amazing consultant. That's ADLITPD.